Yesterday's game, to me, really encapsulated the way that the Brewers have been navigating this unbelievable stretch. I think I said that they're 30-5 since the 4th of July. Freddy Peralta goes out there, gives them a quality start. They needed him to go deep because of the state of the bullpen, got in a little jam, but got out of the jam. And then it was like death by 1,000 cuts. A hit here, a hit here, a hit here. And then the big inning in the 4th where they just take advantage of mistakes. They make you pay. Do you agree that yesterday's game was sort of, yes, this is your 2025 Brewers?
1000% correct. Yes. They popped a couple of home runs, which they've been doing a lot more here in the month of August, especially Bryce Train. He's got 7 homers in August. But especially that 8th inning where it's walk, 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 infield single, pitcher throws the ball down the right field line. There's a pitch timer violation because Sal Frelick's dancing off the second base bag. So you get a free pitch here, base hit, base hit. I mean, it was just that was a Brewers inning. They've been doing that all year long, and I thought Caleb Durbin's comment after the ball game was over about, listen, we're sharks in the water, and I said it on the broadcast. I was like, they just threw chum in the ocean, and our sharks are just crushing right now. That's exactly what they do. You make a mistake, and the Brewers will take advantage of it. They've been doing it all year long.
Jeff, so we all see in the NFL when a team starts to run away and clenches things, there's the discussion, do we sit the quarterback for this game, players, your star players? With the Brewers who are running away with this thing, do you rest your players like now and coming up instead of at the very end of the season? Is that the philosophy? Or is there a
So
philosophy?
I think you're starting to see that a little bit, but I don't think that this team has a throttle down mode. I don't think that Pat Murphy operates that way. I
No.
think he wants to keep that pedal to the metal the entire time because as soon as they take their foot off of someone's throat, that person's going to get up. And no, the Brewers do not want that. The Brewers want to continue to bludgeon people. That's what they want to do, and that's what they've been doing for the last 2.5 months now, since the middle of May. I think that the Brewers only know how to play one speed. They really do, and for me, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Might you see some pitchers go shorter outings? Yeah, you could see that. Um, the DL Hall injury is concerning. He's going to be out a couple of weeks. He was a long guy in your bullpen, but you might have somebody else step up. But you could see some starters go shorter innings, some shorter outings. You saw Jacob Mizorowski take a couple of weeks off. He's going to throw again in this Cubs series. You might see Brandon Woodruff have a shorter start like he did his last time. But that's about the only throttling I would see coming down the stretch is having your pitchers get some rest.
Freddie was fantastic as he's been all season long, and he's always been good, Jeff. But what's allowed him to take that next step that he kind of has this year?
He's not a thrower anymore, Gabe. I mean, he's a pitcher. You could tell, and even in that 4th inning when he lost his command, he was 0-2 on Seiya Suzuki, and then ends up walking the bases loaded on the span of like 14 pitches, and you go, what? Where did it go? What happened? Right? And then he dials it back in. He strikes out a rookie. He was playing in his first game ever at Wrigley Field. That was the second out. That was huge. And then he gets Nico Horner to line out, and then he was aces after that. For whatever reason, there's that little blip every now and again where Freddie loses his command. But what did he go with to strike out Owen Casey? He didn't go fastball. He threw a changeup. What did he do against the Pirates last time out? He threw a ton of sliders. So everything is set up by the fastball, but his secondary stuff is as good as anybody's right now. The changeup has been unreal for the most part of the season, and the slider has come back. And when he needs to, he can flip in that curveball. But everything is set up because of that fastball command. For the most part, it's been really, really good this year.
Freddy Peralta retired the final 8 men he faced and became the first pitcher in baseball to reach 15 wins. We're talking with Jeff Levering. And look, now I am one of these people who wants him to get to that 20-win milestone. It's not a make or break. It's not like it really matters in the grand scheme of things, but I just feel like he deserves that milestone and recognition. And speaking of pitchers, Jeff, we all saw Jacob Mizorowski out there in his last outing, very short. There was some talk about the mound. He didn't want to get into that. How worried or concerned should Brewers fans be after that outing by Mizorowski?
So I love the 20-win thing. I think it's great. Wins are kind of arbitrary in Major League Baseball, but man, if you can get to 20 wins, that's awesome. So just want to finish that thought there for you, Jen. I think for Miz, I'm not super concerned about it. It was his first appearance on a mound in a couple of weeks. There were issues with it. I get it. Command was going to be dicey. It was essentially a rehab start anyway. He wasn't going to go any more than 60 pitches. A design short start next time out, maybe 75 to 80 pitches, which is either tomorrow or on Thursday, whenever he's going to go next. So for me, I'm not super concerned with Jacob Mizorowski. He still needs to get some touch and feel, but you want to see that come back sooner rather than later. I wouldn't be super concerned with it.
Jeff, is there an update on Hoskins and Churio?
Churio should be towards the latter stages of the month, maybe the next homestand for Rhys Hoskins. He was hitting. Neither are on the road trip at the moment. They're rehabbing back in Milwaukee, but it sounds like Rhys could go out on a rehab assignment pretty soon as well. But those guys are both making progress.
How creative are they going to have to be with kind of shuffling guys up and down for the bullpen to cover this stretch of games? It was supposed to be the doubleheader yesterday. Now we got the doubleheader today. Have this stretch of games that they have to get through. And it started off by the short Miz start, back-to-back extra inning games. How creative are they going to have to get?
I think they're going to be pretty creative, especially with the roster manipulation, because they're going to have to. They have 27th man again today, which is great. So they'll have Chad Patrick start game 1, and then Brandon Woodruff goes game number 2. But they are going to have to be creative. They're in the stretch of playing 19 games in 18 days. So this is the gauntlet. Everybody looked at this part of the schedule and went, okay, it's late August going into Labor Day, and this is the stretch where we're going to have to be ready to go. You might see a 6-man rotation. You might see longer outings out of your bullpen guys to get you through this stretch. Brewers don't have an off day until September the 2nd. But I do think that they're going to have to be creative. They're in a much better spot than, say, the Cubs were yesterday. And, I mean, thank goodness for the rain. And, listen, it didn't rain until about 9:30 here last night. Could you have played? Probably. But there was some thunder and lightning in the area, and I understand why they
I've
did.
heard that one before. Could have played in
Yeah,
Chicago.
well, at least we're not getting sunburns from the rain out that we had like we did in 2017. True story. But nonetheless, they are going to have to figure out their pitching, and they're in a much better spot than where the Cubs are today.
All right, Jeff, you've been with the Brewers now for quite a while, so you know Craig Counsell. What do you make of him? Not just the George Webb thing with the, I've never even seen a George Webb's, but how frustrated do you feel like he is right now with the way that the Cubs have been underperforming? And do you understand that Brewers fans are enjoying the hell out of it?
Yeah, I think he's in a tough spot right now because the reason he left was because he didn't have enough quote unquote resources to win a championship in Milwaukee, right? That was one of the big things, and that's why he wanted to come to Chicago. So, I don't feel bad for him. I mean, he kind of made his own bed, to be honest with you. So for me, it's his team is underperforming. They've underperformed for the last month, and is it frustrating? Is it frustrating to be a Cubs fan? Sure, but the Brewers are playing so darn well. I mean, the Cubs were playing really good baseball there for a couple of months, and they were still losing ground to the Brewers because the Brewers were playing their tails off. And now their 2, 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the order are not doing much. So it's frustrating. I understand his frustration. Do I feel bad for him? No, I don't, because the Brewers are playing the heck out of the game of baseball right now, and it's fun to watch. And it's kind of fun to watch Cubs fans squirm a bit.
Well, and what makes it fun is like kind of what you were saying, Jeff, the way that they play. And as Murph said yesterday, some of these guys, Topps hasn't even made their baseball card yet. And when you think of some of the other best teams in Brewers history, there's usually been an MVP associated with it. 1982, Robin Yount. 2011, Ryan Braun. 2018, Christian Yelich. They don't have that. Who is the best player on the Brewers?
I would probably tell you that Christian Yelich is right now. He's having a fantastic season. Jackson Churio is having a really good year. Bryce Turang's having a really good year. We've done this exercise a few times in the clubhouse, and I'm sure people outside of the Brewers organization have done it too. If you look at teams around Major League Baseball and just do a side by side of their teams, and you put the Brewers up there against whoever the other team is, say the Phillies, say the Dodgers, say the Giants, say the Padres, whatever it is. Take their starting 9 against the Brewers starting 9, and what Brewers are you taking ahead of some of those starters? In most of that exercise, who are you taking? Maybe 2 guys,
Yeah.
maybe 3 guys, depending on the roster. So maybe it's 5-4, depending on what the roster is, but usually the other team. But who's winning those ball games? The Brewers are, because this is a team. It's not just a bunch of individuals doing a lot of different things. This is a full-on team that encompasses what this organization has put together. That's what makes this group different than any other team in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, on any given night, any given guy, Murphy saying we're always going to be an underdog because of who these guys are. You can't measure this right here. And he pointed at his heart, which, by the way, is like a scene directly out of a Disney movie, right? Like that is quintessential.
Oh, it's Gene Hackman in The Replacements. He's walking off the
Oh,
field.
Shane Falco. Yeah, bring it.
What does your
Let's
team
go.
mean? He points at his heart. What does that mean? Heart.
Yeah,
Miles
I
and
love
miles
it.
of heart.
Oh, gosh. Great call. Great call. Gene Hack. Very underrated film.
I thought you were going Hoosiers.
Very underrated.
When he said Gene Hackman, so did I.
For a minute, when you said Gene Hackman.
Jeff, we appreciate you hanging out with us here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. The last thing I have for you is this. We have started talking. I made a declaration at the beginning of August saying the way this team is playing, they could lose 6 games in the month of August, and that would be astounding. They are on pace for something like that, which is great. Can we be talking about a 100-win season? I know we have already had the conversation about World Series. I think people are starting to warm up to the idea about talking about this team as a World Series team. But 100 wins, Gabe, you said the math yesterday. Not our strong suit, I know, but it felt very doable.
It is very doable. And even if you play 500 baseball right now, you set a franchise record for wins in a single season. So, and that's 97. So 90, you're gonna have to get to 98 to get to that franchise record. But all you have to do is play 500 baseball for the rest of the way. You got 98 wins. I think a 100-win season is very, very doable. Again, I don't see Pat Murphy throttling this thing down at all. And the schedule is what it is. I mean, it's going to get tough towards the tail end. You got to go to Toronto. Philadelphia comes back into town. You finish with the Reds. You have the Cardinals 6 more times. You're done with the Cubs after this week. But it's very doable. And I think for the Brewers, they only know one speed. So I would say that 100 wins is very gettable for this team and not too far out of the realm. Before you start talking about World Series, let's just start piling up playoff wins first before you get to, let's just do that.
Jeff Levering, play-by-play announcer for your Milwaukee Brewers, kind enough to spend some time with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning. Thank you, Jeff. Have a great call today.